Let's go. Here we go. Welcome to another Origin Story podcast. Today we have a very young entrepreneur here, maybe the youngest entrepreneur we've had on here. And so what that means, the most successful young entrepreneur we had on here, based out of Florida, somebody who's done, he just told us right before we got on here, over $1 million in assignments before 22 years old. It's pretty nutty. Excited to get to hear his story more and learn about his business acumen. He's also a speaker. And based out of Florida. And so with all the stuff that's going on, he's really right in the heart of where the hurricane was. So interested to see how that's affecting his business and his personal life and how that's going to, how he's going to benefit from it actually moving to the future and turn into a positive thing and how to get back to the community. So without further ado, excited to welcome to the show, Donnie Goodman. Donnie, thank you so much for being on here today, my friend.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Really, really appreciate you.
So
awesome.
To give the audience some recap, everyone who watches me and Logan a lot knows that Logan and I travel a ton. We go to mastermind events, we network, we connect with amazing like-minded people. Donnie and I met maybe a few months ago in Phoenix at the All-In event, Carlos Reyes' amazing event. And you and I think we kind of hit it off really quickly, and it was just very, very natural. I was like, damn, this is a good guy. Like, he is actually a good guy. And on top of that, at the time, you were almost at 1 million. And the fact is, I've been pushing this podcast. I've been saying almost 1 million. You came on and you've crushed 1 million. So, dude, congratulations. You're officially you have a seven-figure operation at 22 years old. That is a massive, massive win. I mean, and it's beautiful to see. It's inspiring. But one of the things that I really wanted to bring you on for is I'm on this mission. I've made this, I've made this public proclamation that I have a very clear intention with this podcast. Anyone that's watched, they've known that I've had two types of people on. We've had the guys who are leading the industry forward right now, the Steve Trangs, the Kent Clothiers, the Robert Wensleys. We've had these people who are driving the ship forward right now. They're inspiring millions and they're, shaping what this industry looks like. That is the demographic number one that I seek to bring on. The demographic number two that I seek to bring on are the types of people that I believe have the potential in them to be the future stars, the future greats, the future industry leaders. So some of those guys, like my good friend Naaman Taylor, I think like our mutual friend Tony Romero, there's a few others who are in the pipeline that are going to be coming on soon. You're definitely one of them. When I started kind of thinking about this idea of let's bring on the rising stars before they've taken over the world, you were one of the names that organically came to mind. So, brother, it is amazing to have you here. When you and I first connected, you were very clear about, at a young age of having success. A lot of things that people don't talk about are the mental struggles that come with success at a young age. And you can fly really high, and sometimes that comes at a cost. And not many people were willing to talk about that. You were in a very public kind of open setting, willing to dive into that stuff. And it is a intrinsic part of your origin story. Brother, it's an honor to have you here. We'd love to hear Donnie Goodman's origin story. Lead us in.
Yeah, for sure. Well, once again, thank you guys. That was amazing intros. Yeah, I mean, my story really starts, pretty humble beginnings. Raised in a Christian family. Good, loving parents. But never really, money wasn't a big part of our family, and success. A matter of fact, there's not even, one entrepreneur in my family. So it was kind of, something that hadn't been done yet. And so for me, my journey started first with sports. I started playing baseball at, 6 years old. I played a couple sports before that. It was basically like I was 4 or 5, and I was one of those kids that was always daydreaming. I wasn't doing great in school, and even in preschool. I was like super disengaged for some reason. I guess I didn't fit the mold or fit in the box of, just what you were supposed to do. And I guess my mom saw that as, you need to get into sports. You need to get serious about something, at a pretty young age. So yeah, really quickly, I found myself, I got into soccer, and I remember it was the same thing with that. Like I was like 4 or 5, and I was like chasing the butterflies, like the ball would come towards me. I wouldn't even be looking, like it would just go straight past me. And my family pretty quickly figured out, and I figured out, I was like, yeah, this ain't it. And then I came across baseball, and that honestly stuck with me. So, you know, another thing too is you know, my family, I didn't come from any money, but just to give you guys a little bit of a background to my parents, my dad is a social worker. And even though he didn't have a lot of success, I would say in the community that we're in Florida, he's had a lot of success. He's very well networked, just with more of the community, and how do I say this? With the social work that he does, he just knows a lot of people, not, you know, huge business people, but a lot of people that are contributing to the communities in different ways, just making it a difference, just with their time, you know, all that. So he taught me a lot about communication, and, you know, he still does social work. He actually, he runs job fairs for people with disabilities so that they can find career paths after high school. So he's worked with disabled kids for, you know, a while now. And yeah, once again, he taught me just how to, you know, how to be able to conversate with anybody, and how to really treat people. And for me, you know, from a young age, I was around all types of people, you know, disabled people, old people, young people. So I really figured out how to communicate pretty early on. It came pretty naturally to me. And then my mom, she was a massage therapist, and then she just stopped working for a while, but she was pretty resourceful. She's a pretty creative woman. She's been in a lot of plays. She owned her own like clothing store about a decade ago that she sold off just a couple of years ago, where she would like hand make her own clothing. She would find the best deals on everything, matter if it was like we were using Groupon to go out, she would find like you spend, you know, $30, get 25 off. So we're eating like crazy good and we're not spending a lot, you know, and just with clothes, with everything. So like I saw really early on, my mom be resourceful just with everything she was doing. Even though she didn't, you know, they didn't have a lot of money. And my dad too, just even though, you know, in terms of business success, he wasn't really successful and financially, but, you know, he knew how to, you know, be good to people, be good with people, you know, make friends, have community, stuff like that. So that's kind of background on my parents. And yeah, fast forward, got into baseball at 6. And honestly, from that point until high school, that took up a lot of my life. You know, I found myself, they always say like you see the signs of an entrepreneur early. And, you know, even though I was still really busy playing baseball, I mean, I played from 6 on, I was doing travel ball. I was a pitcher. And that was basically my life. I played baseball on, you know, 5 to 7 days a week. I was just going to school, but I still would do these little things. Like I used to have like a snapback business back in like 2011, 2012, when the dudes, you know, would have like the tumbler picks and stuff. And then, what's that noise? Yo, legit, hold up, the alarm's going off in my hotel. Okay, hold up. Yo, I'm gonna take the computer with me. Literally, my alarm is going off in my hotel. Hold up. Yo,
There's always a first.
There's always the first, guys. Here we go. For anyone who's wondering, Donnie is in Florida. Hurricane Ian's going on right now.
Fire hydrant. God, what is going on here? Yo, y'all, I'm about to take y'all on a journey. Yo, I'm free. All right, I'm running, bro.
Oh, the things you get when you're on a live show.
Hold up. So I'm like super confused. The alarm went off, but everybody's like down here, like just chilling. So I don't know what to think of this.
Their situational awareness and response time. Bro, seriously, dude.
No, I should be good. Hold up. I'm sorry, guys.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. This is what happens when you get live TV, as we call it.
Wow. Yeah, I'm just gonna go back in my room.
Well, if we start seeing smoke, if anyone in the audience is watching, you see smoke, let us know.
Let me make sure. idea. God, this could not be a worse time, guys. Hold on. All right, I'm just gonna keep going. All right.
That's awesome. Cool.
So okay, I think it went off. All right, cool.
There we go.
So,
Look at that. We made it back. Made it back to the couch. No fire.
oh, I guess not.
Bro, let's do this, man. Go ahead and take a pause. Logan and I will just we'll kind of fill some void. Go figure out what's going on, man. Your safety is the number one thing.
Just give me a sec.
Okay.
Amazing for that's what you get, Sam, for being live on the podcast.
You know, so guys, for the record, I talked to Donnie this week and I was like, bro, one thing that we're going to get into is that, guys, when we say he is in Florida and he is, where the hurricane's at, like that is not an understatement. That is not me putting it lightly. We'll get into this a little bit later. But his office got destroyed, not just from the hurricane. His office got destroyed from wind. The wind was, I think we did. I think we lost Donnie, guys. This is, God dang, I don't know what to do, man. I really don't know. This is one of those things where it's like we were talking about wholesaling and entrepreneurship and baseball, and now Donnie is apparently running around in the apocalypse.
Yeah, well, while he's running around, hopefully he's okay. And just like Sam was saying, he's right in the middle of the hurricane. Like that's where he was. His office, as Sam said earlier, was destroyed. And that's why he's sitting in a hotel. I'm sure that's why he's sitting there, because his home is also not inhabitable. So even the fact that he got on here was
this
great.
This is something that, if we get him back, I hope we do. But I mean, guys, first and foremost, the most important thing is his safety.
Yeah.
So whatever happens. If whether or not he comes back on today or not. If he doesn't come back on today, I'm sure he'll come back later. This just is a testament to Donnie and his character. I talked to him earlier this week, and then I told him, I was like, dude, like we can postpone this freaking podcast. Like it is okay. Your safety matters more than anything else. And he was adamant, absolutely refusing the idea to even entertain the idea of not doing this podcast, because he wanted to show that in entrepreneurship, crap happens.
Yeah.
And like right now, that crap is a freaking hurricane. So, Logan, while we're kind of killing time and we're going to get to test our skills as filling voids here, let me ask you, we're at 22 years old. Where was your head at? Because, dude, my mind wasn't in entrepreneurship at 22.
Totally. That's actually the whole time I was thinking when he was like 22 years old, talking about his parents. I'm like, so I'm 30. I just turned 34. I'm like thinking 22 years old. I was in my very last year of college, and I was definitely a party animal, man. I was partying. I was out there chasing women, and I wasn't thinking anything about business, right? I was actually trying to get my first job. And so I was my last semester of my exercise science degree. And I was just literally trying to get a job. I was working for free right now at 22 years old. That's what I was doing. I hadn't done $1 million. I didn't even know what $1 million looked like. I was working for free.
Here, hold up one sec. Let's. Wow. Let's get this figured out, guys. Let me give Donnie a call. He just texted me right now.
Yeah, I guess Otto said he was failing. He's failing Kim, and I was too. I failed Kim I legitimately failed Kim twice.
Hey, this is Donnie. Sorry.
Okay,
and I had to keep taking it in order to get my extra science grade. I had to pass.
Oh wait, here we go. We got Donnie on the phone, bro. Dude, man. If it's still going off, there's something going on, right? We can still hear it in the background. Brother, let's postpone then. Number one thing that matters is your security and safety.
Yeah, I got you. The only thing is nobody's leaving, so it's a false alarm, but it's just getting the alarm off. So let's do this. If it doesn't in the next couple minutes, let's just reschedule, because I don't want to hold you guys up.
No, dude, this is outside of our emphasis on your safety. This is a very interesting. And we're going to look back at this. We'll never forget this one. So, and I think, I wonder if we were the very first real estate investment entrepreneurship podcast to have ever been stopped live due to hurricane alarms. So
Yeah, I know.
Logan and I will keep things running for about, let's just say, like the next 5 to 10 minutes, and then if you can come back and stops, great. If not, dude, we'll run it later. Appreciate you. Just be safe, all right?
Okay, I got you, bro.
Peace.
Tell them to turn it off. Just say, go turn it off, bro.
Kick the plug on it, right? Take the plug out. So, guys, this is okay. So 22, guys. What we're gonna do is this. We'll probably run it for the next 5 to 10 minutes with me and Logan. We'll kind of banter back and forth, and we'll hope that it goes.
What were you doing at 22, Sam?
At 22, I was. Oh my God, where was I?
That was only 4 years ago. You were still in college.
Yeah, that was actually 3.5 years ago. So yeah, 3.5 years ago, still in college. I just started my grad degree, and no, I'd already started my grad degree. So I was in my grad degree, and I was at the time that year, the year 22, I was heavily chasing down a federal task force, something that I don't really get to talk about very much. That was a fun time. It was a very laser focused time. So I was very focused on something, but that something wouldn't have paid me a ton of money. So regardless. You were chasing girls.
What had you interested in?
Okay. Did I just lose Logan, or did I lose myself? What is going on?
I think it was me for a second.
Oh, there you go. Okay, you're back.
Yeah. So I was chasing tail at 22. I think most people understand why that was motivational, but you were chasing a federal law enforcement job. Why?
Yeah. Why? And here's the thing, you were kind of living that frat life. At 22, I was actually the president of a fraternity.
Oh, nice.
So very, very fun times. And then at that time, that was actually a professional fraternity. So we weren't like kind of messing around too much. But the reason why is I felt a higher calling to do some really kind of laser focused things. Donnie.
Bro, you can't make this up. I switched hotels in Boca because I've been here for like 4 or 5 days. And this happened in the first hotel too. It's like 2 days after a category 5 hurricane. I'm like on hypervigilance mode. And then the next morning at like 8 a.m. the alarm goes off in the other one. Like you just can't make it up. You can't.
Wow. So well, it sounds like the alarm is off, and that's good. So something may have happened, something might have triggered it. I don't know. The reality is it's off right now. That's a good thing, and hopefully it was just a false alarm. The fact that you went out there, you ran out with your laptop, and everyone's down there just chilling and eating on the patio.
Hey, it's just Florida, man. Florida got different people here, bro.
Dude, so I got to say this. I was in Florida a few weeks ago for, in this past month for Ken Clothier's Scale and Escape event, man. Went to Miami, hung out in Miami, went to Orlando, 3 hours north of it. And I will tell you guys, 100% Floridians are a different breed of human beings.
Yeah.
The things that you guys are every 3 seconds there was a thunderstorm that would last for about 15 minutes. Yeah. And then it would go away and no one would be fazed by it. And I'm like, this is not normal. This is not okay. This is not. And they're like, yeah, man, if you look over there, oh, there's alligators and crocodiles in that forest area. And I'm like, there's houses right next to it too. And they're like, yeah.
Bro, we be wrestling alligators down here. That's like a normal occurrence.
Wow.
Florida man. Y'all got to look up Florida man.
Dude, Florida man memes are like, that was, I'm not even afraid of her. When I went to Florida, I'll say this, we'll get back on track here, guys. But it's one thing. I wasn't afraid of the hurricanes, and I wasn't afraid of the alligators or the pythons. I was afraid of Florida man. I'd heard stories of the terrifying Florida man and what he's capable of. So, okay, let's run it, man, while you're here, while we have you. God, where were we?
Oh, so we're talking about baseball, but the thing I want to talk about, actually, that maybe will get us back on going the right direction. You said both of your parents, like neither of your parents were really entrepreneurial. Your mom obviously had a business.
I'll say she had a little bit of that. She didn't have a lot of financial success, but she was creative. She was resourceful, and that's the main things I got with her. She never made a lot of money, even with the clothing business, but just kind of showed.
So where was that first mentor for you at, or where was that first person you looked in, like entrepreneurship or business or money? Like, where was that inspiration, and who did it come from, and when did it start to grow inside you?
as far as just being interested in business.
Yeah, exactly. Or even money. Like, I think most people don't think about business. I think they think about money first, right? It's like, I want to be money. And they maybe think a specialist. And then as you grow up, as you learn, you're like, business makes more sense long term. But whether it be a business owner, whether it be a mentor, like, where did that idea of like, I'm gonna make some money one day?
Man, I feel like, and this might sound a certain way, but it's true, is I just feel like I have this delusional confidence. I feel like even when I was playing sports, I just knew, like, once sports were done, I was going to make money. I didn't know how. I didn't know how at all. I couldn't connect A to Z, but I just knew and had the confidence in myself. Hey, I don't know how I'm going to get there, but the thing that I think I'm able to see, and I guess you could just call this vision, is not. I think there's two types of people. One person sees roadblock 3, roadblock 10, roadblock 30, roadblock, all these roadblocks, and they don't see the result. For me, I don't even see that. And even back when I was playing sports and I was starting to think about, what am I going to do after I stop playing sports? I didn't know what, roadblock 4 or 5 or what the trials would bring. But for me, I think I started thinking about it very early on. I think I knew I was going to be successful in some capacity, maybe from 11, 12, 13, those ages, kind of where it started. And once again, back then you don't think it's going to turn into something like this, but it just starts with that one thought. So for me, I would say, like early teens.
So when you were playing baseball, you were focused on baseball. Like, it wasn't like you were trying to, you said you had a snapback business, but outside of, like, was that something that you're like, okay, like, I can actually make some money and play baseball, or like, I'm going to be a professional baseball player? Like, where was your mindset at as far as like your focus?
So this kind of ties into the story. I was gonna play college baseball, and that was my goal, right? And so I played all 4 years of high school, and to come to find out after, this was definitely God. I couldn't see it at the time, but what happened is so my goal is, hey, get good grades, go off to college, play baseball. Even though I knew deep down it's not really what I wanted to do, it was still, for me, I wasn't thinking super entrepreneurial. I was kind of just step by step. It was like, baseball is what I was doing. I need to pay for college. I don't have, money from my family, so I got to do what I got to do. And basically what happened is my senior year, I played basketball too. And my senior year, in a basketball game, before baseball season even started, what happened was, and I was already talking to, a couple colleges, and I was going to commit, that next spring, last year, is I was in a game and I just took a step wrong. I was going to, like, take away a pass, and my knee, like the bottom part from the joint where my knee is, the bottom half went this way and the other half went this way. So, and that's at the joint, right? So that's like ACL, meniscus, all that. And I ended up completely tearing my ACL, meniscus before I even got to baseball season. And that ruined my whole sports career. And that was a big time of resilience. God showed me a lot in that time, and I really had to build, because, I think many times we can put our identity in the things that we do and not us as a person. And that's kind of what I did with sports. So here I am without sports now. I'm, in a full leg cast for 8 weeks. It's supposed to be, senior year. Like, you think of senior year, you think of, like, prom and it being the best time. It was like the worst time for me in all of high school, just because of that going on. So that kind of put me in a little bit of a depressed spot. So to answer your question, Logan, I was really just trying to, and this was still my senior year, this was towards the end, I started watching a couple podcasts. I think it was like Gary Vee, Andy Frisella. Those were like the first guys I came across. And I knew, I was like, the summer before my senior year, I was looking into drop shipping. I was looking into becoming an agent. I never followed through on it, but it was still thoughts that were in my head. And then once I tore my ACL and I had the time now, because I'm not in sports, that's when network marketing got placed into my life. I was in Amway, the thing that you get DM'd about. Hey, you free for a call at 7 p.m. I can get you on with my mentor, all that, whatever. But
that's actually what this call is going to end as. Just
no. Oh no, man. But yeah, so I got plugged into network marketing. I had like somebody's random, one of my friends, it was a girl that I knew from a while back. Her like husband hit me up, and he was like in his early 20s, and he was like, "Hey bro," he's like, "come meet me." He's like, "I got this business opportunity." And for me, I'm like, I just need a vision to be caught for it for myself. And I'm like, it's all over with. Like, I'm going all in. So he sat me down, and he introduced the cash flow quadrants, the Robert Kiyosaki cash flow quadrants. I think that's the first book everybody reads, or most people. And for me, I was like, oh my God, I can't be an employee. I can't be a small business owner. I need to get on the right side. Let's start doing it. So yeah, I ended up signing up. It was Amway. And that really started my journey. I started getting into a lot of personal development, reading, the compound effect, the first basic ones that you read, the Go Giver, things like that. And that really opened up the door. And really, I think that's what sparked everything I have now, is just the personal development, business, working for yourself, the challenges. I'm a person, I'm not risk adverse or challenge adverse. I go straight into it, and I'd rather live that way than just, do what I can. And then during this time too, I was serving and bartending. So that was kind of my high school job, and that got me better with communication. And I really recommend that for people. If, say you're 15, 16, 17, try to get like a job, at least if you're not doing sales or business. Like, try to get something where it's customer service, because I think sales, the thing that people don't talk about enough is like the customer service aspect and making people feel like you're trying to take care of them. That's a huge thing for me. So
I think what you said is great. Going back to the network marketing, what you talked about is like it was like kind of the joke coming in, but network marketing, it forces you to grow as a human, right? Because you're actually having to learn how to sell. You're learning how to prospect. You're actually learning some of the basic fundamentals of business. And I think for anybody who has got a shtick about it, like, until you do it, how do you know, right? And it puts you on a self-development journey. And whether it becomes your business in the long run, or it's just a stepping stone for you to get to your next business, I think it has its value, right?
Yeah.
So kind of describe a little bit about, obviously you talked a little about like the books and self-development, but from the process, like, how long did you do it for? Did you actually make some money doing it? I think most people are actually curious about that. Like, did you lose a best friend because you tried to sell them? Like, what were some of the stories that you had from actually being inside Amway?
Yeah, it was, man. And I agree with what you said, Logan. That's great input, because, you got to get good. It forces you to get better, but get really good with people. And the business I was in, they didn't preach doing things over DM. You know how you get the people in like IML and all that be reaching out. It was all they wanted you to do, all face-to-face. So we're talking meeting somebody, talking to them for like 20 minutes, getting to know them, and then literally pitching them on like, hey, I have this mentor, let's sit down, talk. And I mean, what it did for me, it was definitely a stepping stone. I didn't make really any money. I think my best month I made like $20. But it was still valuable. I think the cool thing is both of my sales guys now, all of my acquisition guys are from Amway, from the first company I was with.
Nice.
So, you can find really good people that, some people, network marketing is the vehicle for them. Other people, you can stay networked with them and eventually work with them in the future. So for me, I just made a lot of really good connections. And yeah, didn't make much money, but it showed me kind of what business ownership looked like, and how to be good with people. And I mean, there's systems and processes, right? Is very important, but at the end of the day, if you can't be good with people, you can't. I mean, everybody says it, and it's cliche, but it's so true. Like, if you just can't be good with people, you probably shouldn't be good. Probably shouldn't be in business, and that's just the truth there. So.
Yeah. Well, I think when you look at business as having three components, right? You have marketing, sales, and fulfillment. The great thing that network marketing does, it takes care of the fulfillment for you. So like, you don't have to come up with a product. You don't have to make sure that it gets shipped out. You don't have to worry about inventory. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. Customer service, like any network marketing product, they take care of the fulfillment for you. And you obviously they're leaning heavily on you for marketing and sales, right? Like they'll give you help information packets, but you're the one who's actually doing the actual work to do it. And I think as a small business owner, myself personally, I think a lot of other business owners, you come into small business on the other side of it, you're like, you only worry about fulfillment. So if you're a wholesaler, like I was a personal trainer, like I thought of that, if I had the best personal training business and I got people the best results, then people would just come to me. And I didn't know marketing and sales. And so like I struggled for 3.5 years because I did not understand marketing and sales. And so I think there's like a nice yin and yang. And for anybody who's new out there who's listening, like understand that there's always three, like those are the three skill sets you must know. And I think marketing and sales is actually far more valuable than fulfillment is in the beginning, because if you're not able to market and sell, then you don't even have the opportunity to like test your product out or get better at fulfillment, because you don't have enough customers to break the product so you can get better at it. So
yeah.
It's one of those things, right, where we talked about this. What was it last week with Forrest Blackburn, who's crushing it. Donnie, I know you. I'm pretty sure you know Forrest. And he's a phenomenal guy. And Forrest said this, and it's something that I truly agree with. Wholesaling, real estate wholesaling, isn't technically real estate investing. I mean, at its core, you should view it as sales and marketing first and foremost. It's marketing and sales, because what are we really amplifying in the world of wholesale is how are we generating leads and how are we crushing acquisitions? I mean, that is the core of real estate wholesale. And obviously dispositions is the second. I mean, dispositions is the second part of that animal. Here's what I'm curious about. So you went to Amway, you got a lot of your reps in. And one of the most crucial things that Logan has always highlighted is we've had a few other guests who've kind of gone down that affiliate marketing, network marketing space before. And one thing that, for all the things that people throw at that industry, I will always say this: they do a phenomenal job in for most of the big players in the industry at throwing networking events, gigantic mastermind events. And if you go to them, they do not hold back. And why? They're doing so much personal development. The personal development that network marketers end up accumulating in such a short amount of time, when that usually, like Logan said, it ends up being a stepping stone to your own kind of bigger business that you own through and through. The ones who go from network marketing to being a full-scale entrepreneur on their own, they crush it, because sales, marketing, they've crushed the first two parts of the funnel. And so I want to get into that. How did you end up making the transition from go network marketing into real estate?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, I was in network marketing before I even graduated high school. It was like the last month of high school and I was in network marketing, right? So I was like, oh, I'm this, I own a business, all that, right? And, in some ways that's the truth. And so I did that for only about 6 months. And then I got into another network marketing company that fell through really quickly. And during this time too, I was starting up college, right? But once again, it was something I really knew in the back of my head. Once again, that delusional confidence. Hey, I know that I don't need the formal education in order for me to make something happen. I know and have the confidence in myself. If I'm just given the right opportunity and given the right vehicle, I will do it, And one thing I want to mention real quick before I get into just the transition is just sports is something that I think has helped me a ton. I think we oftentimes see people who play sports, and then there's a lot that haven't and see success, but people that play sports and athletes, I really like hiring people that are athletes, and just I think you see a lot of entrepreneurs who were once athletes, once into work, they're into working out a lot, things like that. Is they just get it, they get the mental aspect, they get the process of what it takes to be successful. So that's what I attribute a lot. On obviously with God, but like just practically too, is just doing so much sports just made me understand more of the process. But so yeah, so I was doing network marketing for about 6 months. This is around winter time. I'm in school, and what happened is I dropped out of college. I think my best grade was like a 20 or 25. I was like the third day, and it was like over my head. I remember my ex that I was with, she got mad at me one class, and the teacher and her both got mad at me because we had the class together, and we were like 5-10 minutes in, and I completely fell asleep, and I was like snoring in the class, and like everybody's looking at me. And she like woke me up, and she was mad. I was like, are we supposed to be engaged with this? Like, I'm 20. Why am I learning about freaking parabolas and all this? Like, what is this going to actually do for me in my life? And just for a fact, I haven't used parabolas yet. I haven't used any sort of the math that I learned during the 3 days I was engaged in college. So, but
just wait till you're 24. You're gonna get.
Yes, I mean,
man. Yeah, dude. When you scale to 2 million in assignments, parabolas start coming back.
Parabolas
right?
become important.
Hey, I'll give the creds when I have the real life application of those things. But so
you and I would be on the same page on that one. School, I got through school just because like I had to. I didn't think I had another option. And man, Sam's actually really freaking smart, and like Sam is like honors student and like president and like super smart kid. And it's cool because like at the end of the day, like we're all actually athletes. Like Sam was a college tennis player, right? I was a big athlete all the way through high school, still like to train. And so like it's funny that our values are very similar, but when it comes to school, like there's a huge discrepancy. Like there's definitely people who are like, where me and you, Donnie, were probably closer to like, we just got to show up sometimes and we just got to get through it. And then, Sam and like, I know so many other entrepreneurs like Alex Ramosi, someone who's like very, very smart, graduated in 3 years. Like those are the type of people who like, they're just like, that's why entrepreneurship is it's not just like one type of persona. There's lots of different personas in there, but at the same day, what's very similar is our values, right? Yeah. And our ability to work and be resilient and to have courage, have belief, all those things that you were talking about earlier. So anyway,
I don't want to go off too much on it, but I need to highlight this. This is something really important. We've had several athletes on, right? We've had several, former pro athletes. We have current pro athletes in the pipeline that will be coming on a little bit later. And a lot of these people have had, collegiate experience. I had the collegiate tennis experience. And then I, was crushing in school academically. I went and got a master's degree, and it applied for me. But the reality is my college experience was very different than Logan's or Donnie's. But, there was, some folks who've crushed it. Like, there's a guy out there, his name's Mohammed Mo. He's making a kind of a big wave right now, and he preaches for it. The reality is this, when it comes down to it, it's what are you intentionally trying to find? Yeah. Right. So to Donnie's point, if he's sitting in a freaking calculus class and he's getting a freaking business degree, like that crap will never apply. I'm sorry, you guys, you're going to wait 20 more years before that crap starts applying, right? It's just the way it is. So 100% before we get into a full-scale indictment of the American education system. One thing I do want to highlight is Donnie's completely right. In entrepreneurship, there is a theme with athletes, and especially military people who have a background in service. Why? There's a common theme. And that is embracing the suck. It's like a term that we use a lot in like, the law enforcement side of things is embracing the suck. They use it in the military too. And athletes know how to do the same. They know how to do this thing about basically turning off your brain, putting in the reps and understanding reps. And when you're kind of in the trenches, and Donnie, you're getting at a point where you're still kind of in the trenches because you're still really young, but you are elevating as a business owner in a very big way, very, very quickly. You, not too long ago, were completely in the trenches. And it wasn't your business acumen that got you through. It was your ability to sit down, see the bigger picture, and just put in the freaking reps. And I would say that it sounds like you got that One, from, I think you maybe got an element of grit from your parents. Two, after, high school, you had all these injuries, and it basically totaled your playing career. And I've heard this term, it's called an ego death. With athletes, one of the biggest things that athletes do, athletes are visualizers. When athletes are training, right, when they're at practice, they're putting in the hard yards when no one's watching. Very often, what do? We visualize ourselves on game day, on match day, the crowd erupting, right? That becomes very, very valuable to us. And when you had that injury and you kind of realize these things were being taken from you, it resulted in an ego death. Now, what happens very often is when that ego death comes up, you have a renewed sense of purpose and clarity and I know you probably had to search for it for a little bit, but once you got it, now you get a new level of resilience that you didn't have before. So, and I have to say that, man, just being so young, I know that you're in the trenches, you're kind of leaving the trenches because you're doing so many great things one after another. But man, I know a little bit of your story. I know the fact is, man, you didn't just immediately hit success. You didn't. Everyone who's here, I want you guys to all know this. Donnie is 22 years old. Yes, he's done over $1 million in assignments. He had to put in hard freaking reps. Donnie, I want to know, how long did it take you to get your first deal?
5 months.
And that wasn't you like hiring 10 VAs and like you put in a lot of that rep work on your own.
Yeah.
How many
multiple deals fall through in that?
Yeah.
So it took me 5 months.
Donnie, before you talk about your first deal, like how did you actually get into wholesaling? Like what was that transition? Was it somebody? Was it a person who got you in? Where did that come from?
Yeah, so it was really interesting. There's a buddy of mine who, I wouldn't say a buddy. He was a kid I knew my freshman year of high school, and we sat together in biology class. Like the not the regular desk in the classroom, but like the chemistry desk where there's 2 people at each. He sat right next to me. And so we spent the whole freshman year together, and he was like this really just eccentric kid, like very eccentric, very interesting, and very like hyper. Like you could, when somebody you're like their intelligence is just kind of like on another level. Like with him, I was like, yeah, he kind of has it like that. So basically, we went to high school together freshman year. He ends up leaving the school I was at. Sophomore year, the following year, we're following each other on social media. And mind you, we're like 16 years old. He posts him with these Lambos, these, signs, all these different things, real estate related. I'm like, what the hell is this dude doing? Like, we're like sophomores. Like the most anybody's doing is working at like Chick-fil-A or something at this point. So I'm like this Hobie like cracked the cheat code or something. He's cracked the code. And so fast forward from there, he like deleted social media. We lost touch. And then fast forward, the timing was crazy. So now I'm, I just dropped out of college. I did college for 1 semester. My grades were shot. I just knew like, I'm just going to make something happen. I'm not doing this. So, and then the network marketing company I got into was a local network marketing company, and it went downhill like super quickly. Like it was pretty bad. I think to the point where the company got like filed bankruptcy, all that. So I'm over here. I'm like, dang, like, I'm just trying to like I was in business. I got a taste of the development and just like, talking to people. And so he reaches out to me on IG. And this was like right when I stopped doing it was a CBD network marketing company. And he goes, hey man, like, I see what you're doing with the CBD. It looks like you're doing a lot of business, all that. Mind you, I'm making like $15 a month. So I'm like, nah, I'm really not, bro. But so he hit me up and he ends up inviting me out to his house. I sit down with him and he basically just explains, the concept of wholesaling. He goes, and this is when we're 19, right? So I just had turned 19. He was 19 too. So we were same age. So the proof of concept is there. A person sitting in front of me that is doing deals. And he told me when I first sat down at his house, he goes, I made 6 figures this year doing this business. I have 4 rental properties doing this business. And for me, I was like, bro, it's already done in my head. I don't care what it is. And I think people get too bogged down on the what. For me, I'm looking at the how. I'm looking at what's the person I need to know and how can I get attached to that person, right? And that was just the curiosity that I knew I needed to have, and that I just need to get connected to the right people. And so basically he explained it. I started getting obsessed with it. So for a couple of weeks, I'm just like obsessing over it. I started watching like Max Maxwell, Carlos Reyes, all these guys. Any video on wholesaling I started watching. And I just told him, and I'm still serving and bartending at this point full time. And I told him, I'm like, dude, like, you don't even have to pay me. Can you just teach me this business? Like it is. And this was like right as soon, I remember we left the attorney's office because I went with him. He's like, hey, do you want to go to this closing with me? And we started hanging out during these next prior weeks to, meeting at his house. And he's like, hey, do you want to come to this closing with me? I was like, yeah, sure. We go. He signs the docs. The attorney's going like this, putting the check in half, rips it, gives it to him. $19,000 on one deal. And we're like, I've never seen that. Like the most I made in a month is like $2,000, like bartending, So for me, I was like, yeah, I think I am going to get out of whatever I'm doing with this. So yeah, I said, dude, like I'm bartending, I'm serving, but I want to go full in with business. Let me just do cold calls for you. And really what he did is he set the foundation for me, and this individual, he didn't have any structure to his business. He just kind of, would do the cold calls on like call tools himself. And it was very like lower level, but he's still, doing a deal here and there, still making good money for his age. And yeah, so that really brought us into 2020. So this was the end of 2019. I met him, brought us into 2020. I end up I was bartending, serving about 30 hours a week. And when I wasn't doing that, I was at his house doing cold calls, probably about 50 hours a week. I was banging out probably about $1,500 a day on the dialer. And and then fast forward a couple months later, a week before they announced the shutdown for COVID, I ended up going full in with real estate. And I didn't even make any money yet. That's the thing. I didn't even make any money. I just was like so happy to be like doing the work and like taking steps forward. I was like, I don't even care. Whatever I have to do, I'll do. I just need to have full focus on this. And I didn't even make a dime yet. And so that really started, the journey. And long story short, I worked with him for about 9 months, and I wanted to stay working with him, but the values really just didn't align. There was a lot of writings on the walls, a lot of red flags. So I ended up going on my own in August of 2020. And yeah, that's, been on my own since then.
Dude, so amazing. Like going back to what we talked about with school, right? And I know this isn't college, but high school, like the person who got you into the game of wholesaling was your lab partner in science class, right?
Yeah, freshman year of high school.
Yeah, exactly. Like I know it's high school, which is a little bit different than college, but still like the nerdy, eccentric, smart kid is the one who ended up getting you into your first
Yeah, and that's another point. Be nice to everybody.
Yeah, right.
Be nice to everybody.
Everyone that I knew in high school, there was no one doing that type of stuff, man. They were all doing all the opposite wrong things, man. I think I went to the wrong high school. And it's really funny. I do have this question for you. This is something that I'm running into. Now that I'm sure that people at your age, do you have people coming out of the woodworks now that they're starting to see the success? People that are from high school that are just, you haven't talked to in like 10 years. And they're like, hey, Donnie, how are you doing? And then you're like, you haven't talked to me in 10 years. Like, I know what this is going to be about. I'm getting this now. And I want to hear your take on this. Like, is that happening?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
And it's like, let's be honest, from your take, what do they want? Do they actually want to give value to you?
No, not at all. They just want to get value added into them. And I'll speak on this because a lot of business people talk about this, and it happens to everybody. If somebody sees you, I mean, Sam, Logan, you guys post content, like people are going, like, there's nobody that is posting as much as somebody who's trying to build a brand, right? So I found for me, it was pretty crazy. I kind of stopped doing the brand building. It's not really what I want in my life right now. And there's reasons for that. But even with for the 2 months I was posting, the month and a half I was posting content, I probably posted 20 videos. It was crazy, man. And yeah, I mean, I'll speak on that. I mean, you have to give value to get value, And I just think that people don't really, and it makes sense. You kind of just reach out, you see somebody who's posting content, who you're seeing their success, and you just want to know, what do you do? Or can you teach me? Right. But there's obviously better ways to go about that than just saying, hey, teach me. I even had one dude who was like, hey, you give me a call, I want to learn about the business. I'm like, bro, what? I was like, what?
Yeah, and you're a testament to it, right? Like, just to highlight that, I literally just the other day I had someone, guys, this is how not to reach out to someone that you want to learn from. I had someone reach out to me, text me very bluntly, hey, I know you're doing big things. I want to learn. Here's my Calendly. They sent me their Calendly link, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. I've never had this before. But look at what you did. You went and found someone in this space, and you didn't demand from them. You didn't try to steal or take from them. What did you do? You said, let me freaking cold call for you for free. You led with immense value. And so they didn't have to go hire a VA at a few $1,000 a month, right? And that's tremendous value, because what are they doing in their business as a business owner? They are, and this person, it seems like they didn't really make this into a monster machine based on their scale, but you were allowing them to cut down on operating expenses, which are really, that's in wholesaling. What is our number one operating expense? It's marketing, VAs, data systems, calling systems, right? All this overhead that we have, that is a tremendous value add. So the fact that you led with that is exactly how you're supposed to do it. So if there's anyone here who hasn't done their first deal yet and they just don't know how to get a transaction to the finish line, go offer to freaking cold call for someone. If you've got now cold calling, I know I can't do it. Like, cold calling is just, I will lose the will to live. So I commend you for doing that. That is a tough thing to do. But if you have the tolerance for it, that is an extremely valuable thing you can do for someone else. 100%. So, but please continue.
Yeah. No, that's great. Yeah. And I think nobody's going to say no to you, and you will get what you want if you're just willing to give other people what they want at first, right? Because here's the thing, and this was the thing I would always get really kind of sad about, is I would be like, dude, I'm looking over here, I'm looking at Donovan Ruffin, I'm looking at Alex Saenz, I'm looking at Carlos Reyes. I don't even have any money yet. Like, what do I need to do to provide value to these guys that are on this high level when I don't even got no money, right? And a lot of times it just ends up being, people reach out and just say, hey, teach me, right? Versus, somebody said, I don't know if you guys know Jay Monopoly, but he told me this. He was saying, don't ask people what they need, find what they need and tell them you'll do it for them, right? So like, if you know somebody's throwing an event and there's really something that you need, don't say what you need first. Support their event, buy a ticket to their event, promote their event, do different things to show that you're in their corner, do different things to actually add value. I'm not talking about just even like a story post, but like, go the extra mile for that person, and you'll see it come out the other side for sure.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things I really enjoy about Sam. And Sam's an amazing networker. He's an amazing, like people like Sam. That's why you're on here, because you and Sam connected, and a lot of the big names that are on this podcast are because Sam has made the connection, and that's what Sam does. I used to say I thought it was just like intuitively, but he's very strategic about it. But it's also in his it's also in his heart. He just always is looking for a way to provide value and to put the spotlight on another human being. And sometimes, like, that's just what people want, is they want significance, right? We have core needs. We have love, we have significance, we have certainty, and we have variety. Those are our 4 basic needs. And so when you understand that, like, when you can give someone significance or love, That's usually one of people's highest levels of what gets them going. And so Sam does a great job with that. And that's basically what you're saying too. And like, we'll see, we'll think about it from a standpoint of just dollars and cents. It doesn't always have to be dollars and cents, right? It can also, like, it doesn't just have to be business. Like, it can be like, how can you help them in their family? How can you do something for their daughter? How can you do something, outside, like, how do you do something for their health? That's actually how I got my first mentor, is I trained him, right? I trained him so I could so I could learn about business. Because I knew nothing about real estate. And so there's also other ways to provide value outside of just cold calling, which is what Sam was kind of talking about. So like, if you don't like cold calling, there's other ways to provide value as well.
For sure, man. Yeah, that's
Let's hear about it. As we're dialing down here, you've had an amazing story so far, and this is so true, man. Your origin story is still being written. Like, you're freaking 22 years old. Like, it's crazy. It's that you're this young and that you're hitting this much success. But I can tell, and I think Logan can gauge this too, it's because you have tremendous levels of clarity for your age that not a lot of people have. And you have and just knowing you personally for the short amount of time that we've known each other, like, I can sense when someone else has an extreme level of focus. And this is why, to your point, like, everyone can go. One, we're gonna, send you guys over to Donnie's Instagram. But when you go, you'll see that he's not posting 3, 4, 5 times a day. He's not playing that game right now. And there's a time and a place and a season for it. And he's not, because he's freaking building an empire. And that focus is what's going to allow you to continually succeed and grow further. So you just hit $1 million in assignments. I'd imagine that you're not stepping away from wholesaling anytime soon. So what is on the horizon for you, let's just say, for the next 12 months?
Yeah, no, definitely. We're really in an interesting spot as of last week with my business. We had a really good month last month, and then just out of nowhere, this hurricane hit. So if I'm being honest with you, really just pivoting whatever way we need to pivot in these next 12 months. I would like to start with like the quarter. I think this next quarter is just going to be dialing in better. I want to get better with our budget. We spent a lot of money, and I want to get more. We just hired a CFO, so trying to get more in touch with all the finances, every number. Because then when you have
are you marketing locally in your locally? So
yeah.
I'm actually really curious about that. What is the landscape of wholesaling locally in a place that just got slammed by a hurricane? Like, what's the strategy that you and the rest of you guys who are down there, like, what are you guys doing right now?
I mean, there's not a lot of people who have been through what just happened last week. So it'll be, uncharted territories. This is the biggest storm in history. And for anybody or not in history, in the state's history.
Yeah.
And Florida, gets hit with a lot of storms with Florida, So, man, it's really just figuring it out. I think we might try to figure out something around insurance claims. We might try to figure out, a couple other methods, maybe going up a county or two that didn't get hit as hard. But I think it's going to be good. I think there's a lot of people that are distressed right now that could really use our services. And it literally just happened a week ago, and we started 2 days ago, back up calling people. And there's nobody in our area that's doing it already. So I think there's going to be a lot of people that don't have insurance that need to just sell. I think there's going to be a lot of people that have claims coming in and are getting paid on claims, so they can take a little bit of a loss on the sale since they're getting the insurance claim, and really make up for that, with the wholesale price, plus they're getting the claim, so it adds up. So yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting, and it'll there's really only two options. It'll blow up the business even more, or we will have to just try to, find different strategic ways to get into other markets and figure out other marketing channels. So that's the main thing right now.
Yeah, that's interesting. Entrepreneurship, the bigger the problem, the bigger the payday, right? And so I think the fact that you're already looking for opportunities there, I think is really, it shows your character, of which I talked about earlier. Is like, you're not looking for roadblocks. You're not looking for no's. You're like how-tos, right? And exploring how do you actually make this valuable to the person who just lost their home? Like, you obviously lost your office. I'm not sure if you lost your home as well, but
The
bigger
roof.
the problem. Your roof came off, yeah. So yeah. So it's cool. I'm genuinely curious to see how that plays out, and I think your mindset is on par for you to be able to find a way to make it make sense, right? And if you can, you'll make a lot of money, right? Because you'll give a lot to the community. You'll give a lot back. You'll solve a problem that most people can't figure out. So,
Yeah,
it is. I've noticed this about Donnie. It is. He doesn't have an emphasis on the problem. He has an emphasis on solutions. And that is one of the true hallmarks of great entrepreneurs. And the reality is this: 100%. There are people in your local marketplace who have just had something happen to them that they never expected to happen. They'd never, living in Florida, people hope that their homes never get destroyed by hurricanes. And now that it has happened, they have to confront the uncomfortable reality that they're facing. And the ones, like you said, who don't have insurance, the ones whose insurance claims are being denied for whatever little technicality, right? Realtors can't help them. There's a very limited amount of people who can, and the ones who can are the ones who actually care. And I can guarantee that, coming in from, if you guys didn't see it, Don, I think it was on an Instagram story where you literally, walked around your office and the winds were 100 and something miles per hour.
Yeah, it hit like 160 in our area.
160 mile per hour winds, and then your entire, like, the glass face of your office had just completely just got obliterated.
Yeah, we have about 40 feet of glass in our office. It's all glass, like all the windows. So we got to get new windows completely.
So, I mean, I can imagine that. What does that mean, though? What does that mean for, your local sellers? It means that when they talk to you and they talk to your team, they're talking to a team that is living the same issue.
Oh.
And it is positioning you in a way that I'm a virtual wholesaler. When my wholesaling, it's all virtual. I don't do deals in my backyard. I'm nationwide. I'm in Florida. I've thought about, kind of targeting these specific markets. And then talking to you here, I know that I would not stand any chance because I'm not equipped to help them and relate to them in a way that you can. So, and knowing you, man, you're such a phenomenal community-oriented human being. And this is kind of what I want to wrap up with, is you're doing a lot for your local community outside of just helping people with their distress situations. You're doing some more. What do you got going on right now for people who were affected by the hurricane?
Yeah. So obviously, with the detriment of this hurricane, there's a lot of people in need. And this is a thing that bothers me a little bit. And I think it's with everything. I mean, it happened with the Ukraine situation. It happened with, if there's a shooting somewhere, it's a highlight for 2 days. It's a highlight for a week. And then people forget, you know what I mean? And it saddens me because, I do that, and I've had that issue in the past too, is like, it's not where you live. It's not your reality. So it's easy to kind of throw it out the back door and be like, oh, I'm just going to go on with my life. But fact of the matter is, there's tons of people that are suffering right now. The majority of Southwest Florida, everybody's properties got flooded. There's tons of homeless people right now. It doesn't matter if you're rich, poor. There's like tons of homeless people right now. People that there's, death, there's everything going on. And this hurricane. It's not a regular hurricane. This thing was 250 miles long. 250 miles. That's not a normal thing. So the amount of people it hit and the amount of damage is insane. So really, just along with, praying for everybody and just wishing, just for God to do his thing and intervene. We want to be practical and obviously help out. So I've started just a Cash App fund to just help some of the organizations that are doing the relief work right now, providing food, providing, shelter, different things. And so I can give my Cash App if you want to put it up. It's just
Yeah.
help. For anybody that wants to help, it's just the Cash App name at Help Florida Recover. That's it.
And this is something that I believe you've posted on your Instagram too. So if you guys go and everyone should be following Donnie on Instagram at Donnie Goodman. Go to his Instagram and I believe you made quite a few posts about it. Go there, you'll see it there too. And then 100% help him support this mission of helping these displaced human beings and who just had their lives completely rocked in a way that we all pray that we never have to deal with. So dude, at 22 years of old, for the amount of success that you've had, for the level of clarity that you have, but most importantly, the fact that you are taking care of your community the way that you are and the human beings around you the way that you are, the way that you treat people, the way that you treated me when you and I, like, we'd never met before. You could have treated me any way that you wanted, and you treated me in a very specific, beautiful way. And it speaks to your quality as a human being. This is why I'm excited to know you while you're 22. And I can't wait to see what happens when you're 25, when you're 30, when you're 35. This is why I believe you have all the potential in the world to be an industry leader. And I hope you do. Brother, it's been amazing. It's been amazing having you here.
Yeah, man. Thank you, Sam. And you got a heart of gold, man. And you're serving the communities and you're doing so much. So I'm really excited to see, I keep up with everything you post. I keep up with, you as an individual, man. So I'm really proud of you and everything you're doing and just the impact, brother. Love you, man. For real.
Absolutely. Love you too.
Logan too. I don't know you as well, man, but you seem like you have a great heart too, brother. So it's really a pleasure to meet you too.
For sure, dude. Hey, really appreciate your time again. Going with all the stuff going on while you were getting fire alarmed. Sam and I were just talking about how the fact that you wanted to get on here, even with the displacement, even with everything that's going on, just shows your character. And obviously, this is our first time being able to connect and just hearing how you talk. And again, like I can hear how somebody talks on what their intentions are, what their goal is. Like you came on here with no agenda, just like you just want to share and you just wanted to give value. And then the same thing when you're talking about with the relief of the hurricane, like there's no agenda. It just comes from pureness and just hearing about how you do business and talking about your parents. Like they're just something you're very intentional and your intentions are good. And that's easy for me to pick up. So just appreciate that. And Sam, thank you so much for making this connection and allowing us to hear Donnie and everyone who's listening. Thank you guys for being on here listening. And we'll be back next week. So Donnie, appreciate you. Sam, appreciate you for another episode of The Origin Story. We're out, guys. Bye.
Peace.